It's just gone 11 AM on Monday, the 1st of March, Mad March Hare. I'm out on a 100-kilometre bike ride today, hopefully, about 62 miles. That'll be the most I've done since 200-kilometre back in December due to the lockdown soon after Christmas. With the easing of lockdown conditions rapidly approaching and also the nicer weather, I'm inspired to start increasing my distances. Thank you so much for all the feedback after the recent Fosseway ride. And a few people, you know who you are, thank you so much, said to me, when I did the kink around the muddy track on the Fosseway, people sort of said to me that's perfectly rideable. One of my mates even sent me a few photographs, and other people who've ridden it also confirmed that. And where I ended the video last time, where the main road comes up to a T-junction and there is actually a crossroad straight on, but that's the Fosseway, and that's what looked like a muddy track, and plenty of other people sort of said to me it's perfectly rideable, so that's what I'm doing today. The other bit of feedback I was given, Bob, thank you so much, said carry on up the Foss Lane out of Bath. Yes, it ceases to become a tarmac road, but then you can ride up a track. It's dog walkers use it a lot, and he told me where it brings me out, and I've often seen cars parked there. I often wondered what they were doing, thinking, well, I won't tell you what I'm thinking they're doing there. So I'm going to try that on some occasion, but not today, because this is the longest road for a while. A quick recognition to lockdown. Yes, I know it's due to ease soon, and I'm not taking anything for granted, so I'm still taking lots of precautions, hence the hand gel, wiping everything I touch. I'll even be wiping the seat when I go shortly. I just had a funny thought actually just before I leave this pub garden and head up under the M4 to start the gravel section. I've just stopped to charge my Garmin, and you've got to be really careful when you do that. Just when you restart it, I normally flick it on and off a couple of times because you can occasionally get that sort of, as the crow flies, straight line. I thought, wouldn't it be ironic if I got that today when I'm trying to ride the Fosseway? Through road. That's the first gravel section. The other day, this is the way I came up. This is what I did to finish the film the other day. I'm going to carry on up that T-junction where I turn left to head back to Bath, but this time, in fact, it's a crossroads because the track going straight on is to Fosseway, and that's my next gravel section. About a mile on this leg of the Fosseway tarmac, coming up to the crossroads shortly. I'm now at the second stretch of gravel, so I've just come up that road, and what I did the other day was took that left back towards Bath, but today straight on. This is the second off-road stretch. I think this is quite long. It's all new to me, so I'm quite excited about a new experience. And at some stage this does cross over a B road, and there's a really good bit of advice I could pass on about navigation and mapping. It was taught to me by a friend of mine called John Banks. He's from Bristol, everyone calls him Banksy. Not that Banksy, well, having said that, I don't think I've ever seen him in the same room together. So John is one of those great guys who can really explain quite complex stuff in an easy to understand manner. He's much better at the IT than me, and he gave me this great tip to help me avoid going off course on really long DIY Audaxes. When you're doing the mapping and you've established your route, it's worth checking it, especially on multi-day rides. Drag and drop the pegman, the little orange pegman down by the plus and minus sign, over the route. Drag and drop the pegman, the little orange pegman down by the plus and minus sign, over the route. And at first the whole map will look like a plate of blue spaghetti. You've got to zoom in and you'll see all the roads are in blue and your route is in red bold. Occasionally it goes very thin red, and if you then drag and drop the pegman over that, quite often you'll get a square dialog box saying no data available. This route, this track here, would be a perfect example. It doesn't mean it's not rideable or a no through road, it just means the Google car hasn't been down there. It's probably best to avoid those on rides when time is an issue. Today it's not a problem. If I get to a dead end, I'll just turn around and go back. What I've done on some of my rides, I've checked it out. Although you can't get a visual Google map picture of the route itself, you can actually go to where it crosses the road and see what the entrance or exit's like. So this is a perfect example. I've just screen grabbed this picture doing that exactly. Where I crossed the B road, you'll see there's track coming in from the left, carrying on to the right. I've marked it with red arrows. I use that Street View facility on Ride with GPS. I don't know what the other mapping tools are like. Ride with GPS is now my preferred method of making up routes, but that really is a good tip. As I said, you may not see the lane itself, but you can quite often see where it crosses main roads, and it gives you a rough idea what to expect. After about a quarter of a mile on this second track off-road, this gives you an idea of the surface. I imagine it could easily get like a quagmire, but at the moment it's nice and dry, and as you can see, it will sustain the weight of cars. That lady's brought her car up to walk her dog. Soon after that wide gravel section, you join a little bit of tarmac just for 100 yards or so, then it brings you down this byway. I overshot this the first time, I had to come back because I've got a Garmin alarm. This is easy to miss. That's the narrow section I'm just riding. It's crossed this very minor road. I don't think this leads anywhere, it looks like a farm track. And then it carries on along here. And this says, this section of Eastern Grey Byway is closed to all motorised traffic except motorcycles. Alternative route via Eastern Grey. That gives you an idea of roughly where we are. Onwards along here. I'm really enjoying this. I know at some stage it suggests that I'm going to be crossing a brook or a little stream. I've got some sandwiches with me. I'm going to try and wait until that spot and maybe have a picnic there. About a quarter of a mile into this second bit of narrow track, I'm just about to drop down to the river. As it says, this site is a scheduled monument of national importance. Do not attempt to leave the designated track. Do not access the river or riverbank. Wow, what a spot. I've just dropped down that steep track there. Needs a little bit of care. Look at this lovely spot crossing the river. Couple of opportunities for a picnic. Have my sandwich anyway, either there or over there. And then the Fosseway continues up that way. Chap just told me, must be a local, knows more about it than me. The actual Roman road carries straight on up there. In fact, there's a couple of level flat bits, he was just telling me, that used to be the site of Roman houses. The actual track I'm going to be taking is where he's heading up there. So slightly off the Fosseway. This section is interesting. It says the most recent excavations close to the river revealed substantial and well-built stone structures. It has been suggested that the settlement may have had a military origin, perhaps as a fort protecting the communications and supply routes along the Fosseway. Before I tuck into my lunch, a couple of little items. I follow a couple called the White Twigs on YouTube, Rebecca and Paul, and they're really into their local history as well. They mostly walk, sometimes cycle. They're from around Hampshire, but they go all over the country. And it's normally railway stations, disused ones, and canals. By complete coincidence, one cropped up on my timeline yesterday, and they've just recently explored a little bit of Roman road that's got a bend in it. I'll drop a link to that video up in the right hand corner if you want to see it. It's about 15 minutes long. I really like their style as well. They build in a lot of humour to just take the seriousness of the subject matter. I really like watching their video. The other thing I got from the White Wicks brilliant video yesterday was they list their sources as well. And there's a really good website on there that they used for their research called Saxon England. In fact, it's saxonengland.co.uk. The second doesn't sound quite right, does it? There's a whole section on there about Roman Britain, and I just started dabbling with it last night, so I'm going to be using that a lot. I think there's going to be some ideas for adventures tucked away in there somewhere. Just climbing out of the valley. It's my lunch stop over there. And I just saw some cyclists come down, so I'm not the only one doing this today. They should be coming up here shortly. Here they come. Oh yeah, you right?
Hello, how are you?
Fine, thanks, yeah.
Nice day for it, isn't it?
Lovely, isn't it? As you emerge from that muddy section out the river valley, back onto quite solid gravel, much wider. There's even some sort of factory or farm building there, agricultural building. Have a good ride, guys. A few hundred yards later, this is that screen grab I took crossing the B road. There's a Fosseway there, straight over, and it carries on along there. It looks fairly solid as well. Now just emerged onto tarmac. This is like a farm track. You can see it dead straight. I can just see the two guys on their mountain bikes in the distance. I'm really enjoying this so much today. I can't believe I know the area quite well, and I've never been round here. It just shows the opportunities that the lockdown has thrown up. That's not to trivialise it whatsoever. One of my friends lost his brother recently, so I'm not trivialising it at all. What I am saying is, it's made me look at my local cycling and exploring with a different set of eyes. About a mile further on, the road ceased that metalled surface, and then it said ford ahead, and it didn't drop down as steeply as the river crossing, but it's been dropping quite gradually, and here we are here now. It's fairly hard, compact surface, but all the indications are this would be a bit like the Somme down here after rain, so most of what I've ridden today would be rideable in the wet, but maybe not these short stretches where it dips down anywhere near water or through the woods. I stand corrected, that wasn't the ford back there. This was the ford. It's pretty serious. It's quite muddy down here as well. That is some ford. Fortunately, there's this footbridge over. It's still quite muddy, but yeah, look at this for a lovely spot. I think this might be the Wiltshire Avon. I don't have mapping on my navigation device. I'll have to check when I get home. Gosh, look how clear it is down there. I'd love to see a four-wheel drive come through now. There's the sign coming from the other direction, warning you of the ford. Somehow miles don't seem right along here. Should maybe be leagues or chains or something. This is the busy road I'm going to cross. I can hear it coming up. I thought maybe I was about to turn left and start heading back to Bath, but looks like I've got more to come. So across this main road on there, I'm not too sure where I am now, to be honest. I've lost all sense of direction, but I'm just enjoying myself so much, and the sun's really nice and warm now, and I should have a tailwind on the way back to Bath. Fingers crossed. I just realised what a dumb thing I just said back there. How on earth can I lose my sense of direction on a road that is completely straight? What I actually meant was I've lost my bearing about what point I am at. I thought I was maybe coming to the end. I don't want this to end actually, although I know it is going to shortly. About half mile further on, I drifted off course slightly. I didn't even get a Garmin alarm to say I'd gone off course, and I actually came to that farm. The actual Fosseway is right here, so it's ever so easy to drift off. I was so close to it running parallel. That's the second time it's happened. I've just haven't been paying attention and drifted off course. Luckily, both times the Garmin sort of has either given me an alarm or indicated something wasn't quite right. It's not like you're following any signs, let's say, for the M5, or should I say the F5. So I'm back on the Fosseway. Again, it's not tarmac, this is quite hard, compact surface going through this little wood. I'm just following the line of the Garmin, and I've just looked at my distance to go, which is 40 miles, and bearing in mind I came out to do 62, so I haven't even done 22 miles yet. I don't know what the time is, but it's about mid-afternoon. Well, I'm back on tarmac now. That's the route I've come through the woods, just joined this snaking road here, and now my Garmin route is taking me in that direction. That's clearly the Fosseway carrying on that way. So I know I said this before, I think this is where I depart here. And I also got in my head I'm somewhere near Tetbury and I'm going to head back through Norton. I deliberately didn't study the route too thoroughly. I just wanted the feeling of coming out and, you know, following my nose and not knowing exactly where I am. I'm a competent enough navigator to know if things do go wrong, I can get myself back to Bath from here. A possible plan is I'm thinking I may ride at some point the Fosseway from Exeter to Lincoln. First of all, my niece lives in Lincoln, so it'd be a really good excuse to go up and visit her, love her to bits. And secondly, this has really inspired me, and it's thank you to some of the viewers who gave me that amazing feedback and encouragement. Thank you so much. Really planted a seed. How I would do that trip, I'm not sure. I've already downloaded a route off the internet and put it into my own mapping platform. Somebody else rode, I would want to do a lot of fiddling with that and just checking it and double checking it. Probably a winter project to do before I rode that. And I'm not even sure about the logistics yet. It's still just a very early stage plan. Whether I would use travel lodges. That trouble with that approach is it puts a lot of pressure on you. It does mean you can build in a couple of rest days at strategic spots and like reset the schedule. So there's always that. May take a bivvy bag. I don't think camping kit would be advisable on roads like this. And then there are quite long sections on the A46 further north. I have to give it some thought, but it's the more I think about it, the more I really like the idea of doing it. Anyway, on my bike now, as I just referred to, I've hardly made any progress into my 100 kilometre ride today.